All right, you guys, we'll go ahead and get started. So thank you guys for hopping on our call tonight. We have an awesome guest speaker, which I will kind of give her an introduction in just a moment. But first, I'm going to share my screen just to go over a couple things with you guys. So first step is On the Way to Success Club, and we have lots of people that have locked it in already, and even more people that are almost there that have just one more person to help, two more people to help, or three more people to help. So two things I want to say about this is last week we had 35 people, and now we have 74 people on this list. So awesome job to everyone who is helping people this week and getting people in on the health bet and all of that. And another thing is that I was not on this list last week. I was at Success Club 0, and now I'm at 14. So for any of you that are like, oh my gosh, it's the 25th, I can't hit Success Club, or I don't have enough time, you do. You have more than enough time. So do not rule yourself out until August 31st at 11:59 p.m. You can do it. Just stay focused. Next are just a couple reminders for you guys. So there are 8 promotions this month, which is insane. And I have them listed there. Country Heat, Beachbody On Demand, which is always 140. I've gotten some questions about that, but this is just all challenge packs that are 140 this month. 21 Day Fix, 21 Day Fix Extreme, Pio Size, 3-Day Refresh, and 22-Minute Hardcore. Those are honestly my top sellers anyways, and the fact that it's on sale is making it so easy to promote them, because saying how you can get all of this for only $10 more than Shakeology alone, they've been like, oh duh, why wouldn't I do that? So use these programs to your advantage. This week's focus that I think you guys should focus on, because these are my focuses, are participate in your team cup. Don't feel like it's over. No matter how many points you guys have, whether you've surpassed it and you're kind of settling in, or you haven't yet reached it and you're kind of like, oh, we're never going to get there. You use this week all the way up until the 31st to bond with your team cup team, share ideas, share posts, think of ideas, think of events that you guys can do together, gel together, come together, and make sure you rock the end of your team cup. Also promote the health bet. Hopefully all of you guys know what that is. And I created a photo album in Team Supercharged just for ideas to promote the health bet. I think I included maybe 8 or 9 photos in there, and underneath each photo is text that other coaches have done on how they've promoted it. So use that if you have like no idea what to do. Check out that photo album for ideas. And lastly, on September 1st, there's a surge. And the surge is, I think it's going to be an hour-and-a-half call with Carl Deichler, and he always has guest speakers, a celebrity trainer, and he goes through updates, business updates. There's usually a surprise in there about, we won't have a new program this month, but he'll probably give us more info on Core to Force, lots of cool things, and training too. So he said it's going to be focused on for new coaches. So if you're a new coach, or if you have new coaches, make sure they get plugged into that. All right, and now what you're all here for, we have an awesome guest speaker. We have Blair on our call, and I'm sorry, Blair, I spelled your name wrong in the photo. I'm missing an S. But she is a 2015 elite coach. She's a 5-star diamond, and she's a 1-star diamond in her second business center. She's a 6-figure earner. She's a Success Club 10 legend, which means that she's hit Success Club 10 or helped at least 5 people for 24 months in a row. And you can see here she's actually done it for 37 months in a row, which is insane. That's so incredible. And she's going to talk to you guys tonight about building trust to attract clients, because it kind of goes hand in hand. If your clients don't trust you, they're not going to be your clients. So Blair, I'll stop sharing my screen and then you can take it away.
All right, thank you. I don't have any nifty slides to share with you guys. I am not that type of coach. That's a lot of work, to be quite honest. So I'm just gonna share stuff with you. I wish I could make slides. That'd probably be great. Because I'm more visual of a learner. So I love it when other people have slides, but then I never make slides for people and I feel bad. But yes, tonight I definitely want to be talking to you about, building trust, because like Samantha was saying, is that obviously, people are going to do business with people that they trust and they know and they feel like they can relate to. And I definitely want to be able to give you guys some really great tips and advice of ways to really thoroughly build a lot of trust with people. So basically it kind of rolls over how I like to say is that you almost get to start inviting without ever inviting, because you're just kind of building in trust with people right from the get-go, so that you almost don't even have to be worrying all the time about going out and inviting, because you are building up this trust with people, and things are they just effortlessly start to happen. I don't ever want to sit there and make it sound like you just like people are going to start running to you. But I do think that when you build up that level of trust, it makes it that much easier. People will come to you more. And as you're talking to people, you will find that the inviting process is just that much easier, because it feels like everyone starts to just become your warm market and everybody is your friend, versus having that feeling of, I don't know this person and they don't know me and I feel weird about inviting them to something and I barely know that. It almost removes me, because everyone starts to feel like they know you and you know them. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about me. I've been a coach now for a little over 4 years. When I first started coaching, I was dealing with the second round of baby weight. My oldest is now 14 and my youngest is going to be turning 5 next month. It's really great, right? I got like the horrible teenager hormones on one end and this like preschool ninja dinosaur on the other. Like I'm being pulled in all directions any given point of the day between the two of them. They're slowly trying to kill me. But when I first started, my son was 9 months old and I was breastfeeding literally round the clock. I was up every 20 to 90 minutes all through the middle of the night for the very first year of his life. His second year, he was still waking up probably like good 2 to 3 times a night. So I was basically a zombie every single day, on top of the fact I was dealing with extremely bad postpartum depression. The type depression that most people are not willing to open up and talk about. I was contemplating suicide. I was feeling like just a drain to everyone around me. I felt like, an emotional drain to my family. I didn't feel like I had anything to give to both of my kids. At the time, my daughter, she knew what was going on, but obviously could not really understand why I was acting the way I was. And I was just feeling like this huge failure to my kids, on top of my husband was working at his current position now, but he had just started working at this company when I was pregnant with my son. So he was still fairly new, wasn't making a whole lot of money. And he was working tirelessly, trying to bring extra income in, and we weren't making ends meet. And I felt like I'm a drain on him. I wasn't contributing anything to the household. I was actually borrowing over $600 a month from my parents every month. I was on state assistance, food stamps. I had their Target card. I had their gas card. I had everything I possibly can. And we still were not making ends meet. So I was faced with having to go back to work. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to go back to work. I'm extremely depressed, can barely function. And this baby will literally not get off my boob to do anything. Like I was literally like practically showering and going to the bathroom with a baby on my boob. Like I had no privacy. So I'm like, how the heck am I going to go work a job? Like this is crazy to me. At the same time that I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to try to bring in money, I had seen a girl talking on Facebook about, making fitness your business. And I was like, this would be great, because I knew after having my first daughter, I was actually 230 pounds after having her. And I found, that getting into fitness, eating better, that helped my postpartum depression that time. And I was like, this is probably, would help me now feel better about myself. It would help hold me accountable to my workouts. I'd already done P90X once before. And if I could stay home and make an income doing this, like this would be amazing. So I got signed up. But unfortunately, I royally sucked for like 7-8 months in my business. I didn't hit Success Club. It took me a year to hit Diamond. Even after I hit Diamond, it took another probably 6-7 months before I even solidified my Diamond. And I started 2015 as a 1-star Diamond. So it was definitely a slow, steady progression for me. It wasn't something that kind of exploded overnight. I know a lot of coaches, you know, I feel their pain when they're like, I'm signed up and nothing's working. Like, I'm doing all the things that people are telling me to do and nothing's working. And so I know that a lot of it had to do with two things. One, I will always say personal development. I think that is literally the foundation to our business. And I think that in order for these things that I'm going to be talking about, this building the trust, you have to have that foundation of personal development and have that mindset and have that confidence in yourself, because it does translate over into how you're communicating with people and how you're building trust with them and the type of posts that you're putting out there. So check yourself there and know that you're where you need to be in your personal development and being confident in your abilities. That's where that's going to come from. But I know in order then for me to, instead of just kind of running down my list every day, I was just kind of knocking things off. Oh, I'm sending out invites. Oh, I'm adding new people. I was not truly connecting with them. I was just literally treating it like a to-do list every day. And then I didn't understand why it wasn't translating over into SC points and rank advancing. So that was definitely the two things, personal development, and then what we're going to be talking about, building the trust. So once I checked in with myself and realized that I was the problem in my business, which is a hard thing for people to swallow. I'm telling you right now, like, if you're stuck right now, you have to realize you're the problem in your business. All right. Like, it's clearly not the programs. The programs are amazing. And it's clearly not the opportunity, because there's far too many coaches having success in this business. So if you're not seeing the success, it's you. Now, can you guys see me? Am I okay? Because I know I can see my internet's going funky.
Yeah, you just froze on us.
Am I going to have to pop in on this? Do this. Can you guys see me?
No.
Oh no. Oh.
Did she hop off? Oh, there you are. Wait, I can see you. But now you're muted. There you go.
Okay. I'm trying to also connect through my phone just in case I have another problem like that again, because like I said, my Zoom for whatever reason is all funky, but then it's not connecting on my phone. It's like, I'm figuring it out. What the hell? All right, I'll just, hold on a sec. All right, I'll see how I keep doing. Okay, anyways, so I have 4 tips for you guys of how to build connections with people. So the first one is, it starts with you. Okay, it starts with you. It starts with your journey. It starts with you being committed to going out and actively building relationships with people and talking to them. So first, that obviously has to start with making sure that you're focused on your journey, that you're doing a program, you're drinking a Shakeology, you're doing your personal development, and you're sharing that on your page. Because if you're not doing any of those things, you're going to have nothing to talk about. Like, what are you going to share? What is your story going to even be if you're not even doing anything? So you got to know that you're making that a priority every single day. And then when you're going out and starting to talk to people, you have to be doing genuine connections. and really doing more than just like the, hey girl, or hey, how are you doing? Or how are you, how have you been? We haven't seen each other in a while. Like, you need to go and Facebook stalk the shit out of these people. You need to like get to know them. You get to like see what they like. You need to be more interested in the other person. You need to genuinely care about what's going on in their life. You can't expect to just share all your stuff and think everybody's going to think you're like the best thing ever and want to come and be your best friend. Like, it usually starts by you taking that initiative and wanting to get to know the other person. So I go on Facebook, stalk the shit out of people. I'm going through all their photos. I'm going through all their stuff. I'm trying to find things that I know I can relate with them on, and find the things that I can be like, oh, we have this in common, or oh, we both like this, or oh, we both like, Bachelor in Paradise. Fucking sweet. We can sit there and talk a whole bunch about that. I hope you don't mind. I do swear just a little bit. So I hope there's no children around. You need to earmuffs them. It just flies out of my mouth. I take the time to really, when I see other people have other things going on in their life, I set reminders for things. People, they talk about having, their kid was sick, or their kid was, especially right now, everybody's kids are starting back to school. Maybe their kid is starting high school, or they're starting preschool, or it's their first day of kindergarten. I make note of that, and a couple days later, I'm going to message them and be like, hey, how was your kid's first day of preschool? Did they like it? How's your daughter doing with her first day of high school? Was it scary for her? Oh my God, my dog is like barking. Hold on, let me let him out. You're being a baby. Oh my gosh. Sorry, the dog is worse than the kids. So anyways, oh, I saw your kid was sick. Is he feeling better? I saw that, whatever event is going on in their life, I take note of that, and I check in with them privately to see how they're doing and what's going on in their life. I do this the same with birthday messages. I find like when people are like, I don't know who to connect with today. I don't know who to go talk to today. I'm like, check your birthday messages. There's typically always like 4 to 5 people I find on that damn thing that like people are having their birthday. And most people always just like flop a freaking happy birthday on people's walls. Like, no, send them a private message and be like, hey, happy birthday. Like, I hope you're going to go enjoy a, calorie-free piece of cake. Cause that's what I think on my birthday. Like, it's calorie free because it's my birthday. What are you going to go do on your birthday to celebrate? And I ask them, and when they tell me, then I check back in a couple days. I'm like, did you go see that movie? How was it? Do you think I should go check it out in the theater? Where'd you go to dinner? Did you enjoy yourself? I just always check back in, and I'm always involved in what's going on in their life every day. It's just like the little things that people don't necessarily do on social media. Most people get on there and they're just kind of skimming things, and they're looking at what everyone else is doing. They're kind of liking and stuff like that. But when you take that extra time to, instead of just like and comment on things all the time and just privately message them on things and checking in with them, those are the things that get you to step out in people's minds. Like, oh, she really does genuinely care about what's going on in my life right now. So now that leads me to number 2. Treat your wall like a reality show. I love reality shows, okay? So I love The Bachelor. I love all that horrible programming. That's my thing. But really, truly, people they love social media for that mere fact that they just want to see what's going on in everyone else's life. That's why they're there. Like, that's why I got started on social media. I was like, I just wanted to see what everyone else was doing from high school. Right? I was like, I wonder what that girl's doing. I wonder where this girl is now. I wonder where that guy went. Like, that's what I wanted to see. So you have to recognize that when people are scrolling through their news feed and you come into their feed, what are they seeing? What are they seeing of you in your news feed? And I like to think of it like when they scroll past me, that's like I'm welcoming them into my life. Like, think of it as like if you were hosting a party at your house and you invited your friends over, would you just open the door and blankly stare at them and like not communicate with them? No, you'd be a freaking weirdo if you did that. You'd clearly invite them into your home. You'd be like, this is my husband. Here's my kids. This is, can I get you a glass of wine? I would not get them sangria. I learned that last night. I had sangria at a Gwen Stefani concert. Never again. I'm not feeling so hot today. But like, I would invite them into my home and I would communicate with them and talk to them like me. I think that coaches sometimes they sign up and they all of a sudden think they have to be this whole other person to like, I have to look like this. I have to talk like this. I have to act this way. Like, no, dude, you're still you, and be you and talk the way you do, because they should feel like when they see you in social media that if they were to run into you at the store, they'd be like, I know that girl already. They would already feel like they know you. And that's how you have to leave that impression in their mind, is through your postings. You have to invite them into your life. You have to know that people are watching you even when you don't think they are. They're always watching all the time. So go and look at your walls and really be honest with yourself. Is what you're posting about, does that speak to your best friend? Would that be your best friend that you would be communicating with? Or are you trying to talk and please to what you think everybody wants to hear from you? Because I find when you're trying to like people please, you start diluting your content instead of being very focused on you and your ideal customer and your ideal coach. Don't censor yourself. Don't care whatever anybody else thinks. If you fucking swear, then you fucking swear all over your social media wall. Like, you do you. Like, stop caring so much what anyone else thinks. And make sure that you're being consistent, really consistent in that 3 to 5 times a day. I think that that's another huge mistake coaches make. They think they can put one post out and then it's like, can you guys see me? Or did I freeze again? Am I good? Okay, good. Okay, shit. All right. Consistency is huge. For people to feel like they can get to know you, they've got to see you coming through consistently on their newsfeed. Which then leads me into tip number 3. You need to be more vulnerable in your posts, but adding value within those vulnerable posts. And I want to break this down a little bit, what this means. You want to seek to help people every single day, okay? And in order to do that, in your posting, you have to be able to let your walls down. To let someone else's walls down and for them to feel like they connect with you, you have to take the initiative to let your walls down and be very vulnerable in your posts. I think about the girl that I want to help specifically. I think about the girl that I was in the worst of the worst. Think of when you were struggling the most, or what maybe got you to want to become a coach or get started on your fitness journey. What did that look like for you? Where were you in that moment? I create my content specifically for a girl who was just like me, locked in a closet, wanting to end her life, thinking she had nothing more to give, that she was a complete drain. I want to speak to that girl. I want to give her hope and let her know that I understand her and I get where she's at. So that's not always easy to open up and talk about those deep, dark moments. And so I say, like, if you have moments like that, maybe you're not ready to talk about, like, it was very hard for me to open up and admit that I was in that type of place. Think about maybe the feelings you felt in those moments. How were you feeling? Were you feeling lost, hopeless, alone, depressed? You don't have to maybe talk necessarily about the exact situation, but you can talk about the feelings you were feeling in those moments, and people are going to connect into that. Whether or not they were in that same situation as you, they're going to connect in a moment that they felt lost, or they felt alone, or they felt depressed. And they're going to connect with that feeling that you guys share. I did this a lot too. I just had a hysterectomy actually in April. And I forewarned my husband. I was like, be prepared, dude. Like, I'm going to be real honest in my hysterectomy journey. I was talking about my vagina and the fact that, we couldn't have sex for 10 weeks and constipation and like everything. But I laid it out there, and I put disclaimers on my shit. I flat out said in the very beginning, I was like, dude, this post is going to be ridiculous right now. But if you don't want to read about my damn vagina, that's all right. Keep scrolling by. Like, this post is not for you. This post right now is for a girl who's prepping to have a hysterectomy or a girl who's been through a hysterectomy. So if you don't want to read this, that's fine. Just scroll on by. And you have to be prepared to be that bold in your business and be that bold with your message. And say that flat out. Like, if you have something to share and it's not for everyone, okay, fine, don't read it. It's not for you. But I'm telling you, when you put your message out there that bold for people, even people that like they didn't have a hysterectomy, they see me as someone who's willing to be that open and that honest, that people connected to me regardless of the fact that we were going through the same thing. I was getting messages from people all the time that were like, I feel like I can just talk to you, because if you can open up and share that with everything, I feel like I can share this with you. That's what you want to be. You want to be seen and viewed as someone that you're willing to put your story out there and add value back to other people that are in pain, or you really truly want to help them, because then they're always going to view you as someone that's willing to help them no matter what. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. And then when you create posts like this, the ones that are maybe really the deep, or even maybe you're just doing a post, you're sharing your before and after results. It doesn't even have to be something super deep and vulnerable. It could just be like your before and afters. Whenever you share something like that, and people are liking and commenting on your post, and I'm sure you're going on there and you're commenting with people, but I take it a step further. The very next day, I will go back, I will look at that post, and everyone who commented, everyone who liked my post, I will privately message them and thank them for taking the time to like my post. So especially for new coaches, the very first time you put yourself out there like that, or you maybe do like an open for business post and you're sharing that you're starting your journey or whatever it is, go back the next day and you thank everybody. Like, I know it was just a like, but it really meant something to me that you took the time to like that. It just meant so much, because this is, a big start for me, or that was really hard for me to share, or it was just nice to know that people are supporting me while I'm going through this, or whatever it is. And the nice thing is that when you do that, when you're connecting with people and you're starting to talk to them later on, let's say this person, you eventually invite them to want to start coaching. And most people, I always hear this, right? They're like, I could never do what you do. You just, you're so motivating, or you're so sharing all this stuff. I could never share that kind of stuff. I could never motivate people in that way. I always tell them, remember how you liked my post, or you commented on my post, or you showed me support in that dark moment? That's what I do every single day as a coach. That's all you have to do, is genuinely care about someone else every single day. And clearly you know how to do that, so you're going to know how to like inspire and help other people. That's all you do. You can refer back to that and use that and show them that they can be a good coach. People have it built up in their head of what they think they have to be, and they just have to be willing to care about other people. Can you guys still hear me? Am I still good? Okay. All right. And then the other thing, hold on, let me see here. Oh, adding value. I wanted to add in something else with adding value. There's ways to be adding value to people when you're in private messages and starting to talk to them. I think that we far too often, especially new coaches, I know I did this. I was like the worst at it. I was taught when I'd be talking to people, I was so focused on me, right? Like hitting Success Club, me rank advancing. I would basically like bulldoze people over in conversations. And I would completely neglect the fact that they were needing maybe something a little bit more, or maybe a challenge pack it just wasn't the right time for them, or they just weren't there yet and ready to be a coach. You have to step back and be able to pull yourself out of that in that moment, in that conversation, and find ways to add value to people in conversation that are not always related to a challenge pack or coaching opportunity. I am constantly giving advice on personal development books, or, free resources for them, or talking to them about, oh, if you can't get started now, how about I have an Eat Clean group that you could try out, and I'm going to talk about other like free groups and things like that in tip 4, but find ways to help people and serve them, even if it doesn't translate over into Success Club points or coach sign up. When you do that, you show them that you do care and you're listening to their problem, and you're not looking to get a transaction out of them, so that when they are ready, they're going to come back to you when they're ready, because they're going to see that you're helping them. Plus, if you're consistently sharing your story, you're consistently doing your 3 to 5 posts every day, you're adding those value, all the being vulnerable and being bold, all that stuff in the, first couple of tips I've got, they're going to come around when they're in that moment, or when they get to that moment that they are ready to take the next step. You have to be the person who is looking to always offer a solution. I tell my team, be the problem solver, not a problem talker. I hear people all the time, they're just spitting out problems to me. And I think women, will do that. We'll sit there and we'll just they'll talk back and forth about all their problems. Like, be that person to stop people in that moment and be like, you sound like you're really, struggling with this right now. Maybe, this personal development book might really help you right now in this problem that you're having in your marriage with your husband. That's what I do all the time. I'm constantly looking for ways to problem solve for people. Which then leads me into tip number 4. Getting into private groups and offering free groups. So it's kind of like a twofer. I don't know. I should probably do 5 tips, but I combined this together kind of. So I'm sure you are in already private groups, right? Like you've maybe sat down, you've already thought about things that you can go be in private groups, usually like mom groups. I was in breastfeeding groups. I'm now in hysterectomy groups. When I get into those groups, I am forming relationships with people within the group, and I'm finding ways to add value within the group itself. But what I do is to connect with them more. Can you guys see me still? We're still good? Okay. Sorry. Maybe it's more on my end that it looks shitty. When I get into a group that I'm a part of, so for example, my hysterectomy group, I was sharing content over on my personal page all the time in reference to my hysterectomy group. But in the hysterectomy group, I was not allowed to cross-share information from my personal page into the group. A lot of admins can sometimes get a little I don't know if you guys have ran into this. Some admins are like, you can't share certain things. Don't talk about this. Don't da-da-da-da. So what I found is that if I go into the group and I'll say, I created a vlog talking about this. If anybody wants to check it out, it's over on my personal page. Feel free to check it out. That way I was getting people coming out of the group, going over to my personal page and seeing the content that I had placed there. And then because I'm consistent in sharing everything else, they could see me, get to know me, and I would very easily be getting friend requests from people from my private group that I was a part of, because I just redirected them, come check me out. If they want to send me a friend request, great. If not, I'm, whatever, it is what it is. But when you start doing that and you're creating content and they start seeing that you're providing value, that is connected to the group that you're a part of, I was starting to get viewed as someone within the group as, hey, if you want to learn more about hysterectomies or this and the other, go check out Blair on her page. She's constantly sharing her hysterectomy journey, or she's got a YouTube channel that she's got all of her vlogs. And so it naturally started feeding itself. I didn't even have to say anything. People were already redirecting them over to me already in the group, because you start establishing yourself as someone within the group that is trying to put out value for that specific topic. I did the same thing when I was breastfeeding with my son. Every time I would make any content directed at breastfeeding, I tell the breastfeeding group, hey, come check out what I did over here on my personal page. I was talking about breastfeeding over there for you to check out. Another way that I'm adding value back into the closed groups that I'm a part of, and this definitely you have to check with admins, is that I offer up free groups within the closed group that I'm in. Now, I know a lot of teams, they do typically like eat clean groups, but me and my team have really tried to think outside the box of other free content that we can offer people of value that is not eat clean or fitness related. Some of the things that we've come up with are organize your house challenge. There's actually a guy named Peter Walsh. He was on Rachel Ray and Oprah. He actually already has a whole video series on YouTube. He typically does it like at the first month of every year, you know, for usually like New Year's resolutions. And he already has the videos loaded up. They're usually like five minutes, maybe 10. And he breaks down a small chunk of your house and he shows you how to organize it. So I literally just put the content into a group. It's like a month-long challenge, and everybody's learning how to clean their house. And I offer this up into a lot of closed groups that I'm in. Let's see here. We do DIY groups. If you're somebody who knows how to make like hand soap, I am not a Pinteresty person at all. Those moms who can like Pinterest the shit out of their kids' birthdays, like good on them, but I'm like, no, I cannot do that at all. But I have coaches on my team that are way into DIY. So they have like a 5 to 7 day challenge of they teach other people how to make these things. They give them the recipes. They have like a shopping list. They love it. It's something that they love to do. So they're connecting with other people that are just like them, that people that love to craft or people who love to DIY. And then they're already talking to people. They have something already they can connect and relate with, and they're giving value back on. Currently right now I'm doing a 30-day, it's called, it's a financially fit group. It's based off of the Dave Ramsey system of how to do a budget. There's an envelope system. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's based off of his book. What book is that? I can't even think now. I'm sure if you like Google Dave Ramsey and envelope system, it's something Sorry. I usually have the name of the book like at the top of my head. I can't remember it now. But I'm just basically walking people. You do the envelopes. See, if you already know how to do the envelopes, you can basically teach people how to do it. And that's all I do. I tell people right away, I'm like, I am not a financial expert. Don't think this is just a system. You know, it's a book. You can get the book. You can read the book. But we're all in a group together and everybody's doing the envelope system and learning how to budget. I think it's a great resource to have, you know, when you have these other things to do, when people are like, you know, I don't have the money to sign up for a challenge pack, or I'm really struggling with finances and stuff like that. I think, you know, most people, they want to like offer the opportunity, which I do. I offer people when they're telling me they're struggling with money. I'm like, you know, maybe coaching would fit into your life, but if they're not there yet, I'm like, I have a budgeting group. Maybe that would work for you. Let's learn how to budget your money, because I want people to at least learn how to budget their money, regardless of if them are going to sign up with, you know, me as a coach. I want people to be able to, you know, get out of debt. And so with these groups, I find that I can add like a whole lot of new people to my network. I can start building relationships with these people. I'm already giving them something of value. So they already see me as someone that I'm just wanting to help them. And then I'm just connecting with them and relating with them while I'm helping them in this group, something completely separate from coaching. I do recommend highly, if you run groups that are not like clean eating groups or butt challenge groups or whatever it is, it's like not fitness related, leave Beachbody completely out of those free groups, so that people they don't think that you're getting them in the group to all of a sudden start talking about Beachbody. So remove Beachbody completely out of it and focus merely on the topic that you have at hand, and just start to get to know them and bond with them off of the topic that you are helping them with. I think another great free group that I've done before that I see people do is the 30-day push by Shelly Johnson. I think that's great for people when they sit there and tell me, I don't have enough time to be a coach, or I'm just so busy, you don't understand, and being pulled in 1,000 directions, my kids, my work, my that. I'm like, hey, have you ever considered doing a 30-day push? Just go even read the book or get set up on the email system, or run a 30-day push group. I did this even with my team. We did it team wide, and then we opened it up to have people be invited in and do it with us. I think it's a great way too for them to kind of get to know your team. On top of it, Shelly Johnson's amazing. And then you help them to see that they do have the time. They're just not prioritizing their day at all. And then it's great too, because then you basically, if you get them in there, they learn that system, and then you sign them up to be a coach. They've already learned how to like create to-do lists and be more, efficient with time management. I like to find ways to basically pre-train people to be a good coach before I sign them up to be a coach. Any way I possibly can. So anyways, just a couple of bonus little tips and advice. When you are in conversations with people, you guys try to be you, lighten up. If you're somebody who loves emojis, emoji the holy hell out of your conversations with people, LOL them, whatever. I'm obsessed with GIFs. I love those damn things. I'm literally trying to figure out a way to like sign a coach specifically off of only having a conversation being GIFs, sending back and forth. I love GIFs. So if that's your thing, if that's who you are, embrace that in conversation when you're talking to people. The more conversations you're having with people, the more that you're going out and connecting with people and relating with them every single day. Like I said, inviting starts to almost become this thing that just starts to naturally happen in conversation, because you're really truly getting to know them, and then they already feel like they know you. So it doesn't have to be this cold invite that you're sending out. You're basically like, oh, did you ever think about doing what I do? It just kind of rolls out versus like these mass inviting of people that you barely know or they barely know you. And then when you do start getting into conversations of either they've decided they want to sign up with you, they want to learn about coaching or they want to learn about challenge groups, that doesn't mean that you all of a sudden turn into freaking, like diarrhea of the mouth and like just all this like coaching, stuff. Like don't all of a sudden turn into this completely different person and, be firing off questions at them. Like take the time to continue, like slow down, just get to know them and still like build the relationship while you're, getting to know their goals and their needs. Just remember that it's not about you. It's always about them. Don't bulldoze them over in conversations. Truly listen to them. Give them what they need, not what you need for the end of the month. And then, think back on how your sponsor talked to you. I think that's always like a fun thing to do. Like I've told my coaches, go back in conversation to when we first started talking. Like, how did I talk to you? What were we talking about? How did we connect? And just go out and talk to people like that. Stop being such a weirdo. Like, people, they are like, I don't know how to talk to people. I'm like, seriously? You don't know how to like have like a regular conversation with someone? Like, come on. I know that some people are a bit introverted and can be shy. And I'm a bit of an introvert, or I'm an extrovert, but I have introvert tendencies hugely. Like I'm comfortable with people I know. People I don't know, it makes me really anxious and I get a little like weird. So I just flat out say that to people. Don't be scared to like say flat out. Like I've said people in conversation be like, I know we barely know each other. So I hope I'm not acting totally awkward or I'm weirding you out right now. But like, I feel like if you just like put it out there and just speak your fear right away, or say, I don't want to come across like I'm being this way, or I don't want you to think I'm trying to be pushy, or I hope you don't think it's weird that and I want to invite you to this. If you say what your fear is out there, people are automatically, their walls come down, because then they're like, oh no, you're not making me feel weird. Oh no, I understand. No, I know you're not trying to be pushy. No, I get it. Like, so just say that. Whatever your fear is, say it to people and let them know. So I think I got everything. I was looking through all my notes. I want to make sure. Yeah, I did.
That was so good. And I feel like this is perfect timing for me too, because this month is the first month that I'm truly focusing on relationships, whereas before I'm a huge tracker. And so I have a tracking sheet where I track all of my new friends. And I thought, okay, today's Blair's day. I need to go interact on her page. And it was such transactional. I was like, and then I was like, I liked 3 posts. I'll move her to the connect and I'll connect about something non-Beachbody. And then I'm going to invite, and it was just like so transactional. And I didn't know Blair, that person at all. And it was just so like the whole time I knew the intent was to invite them. And so this month I'm doing like maybe a third of your tips, and already it's like so much more fun to be a coach and like to connect with people. And I'm so excited to start some of these other ones. Like I'm not in Facebook groups and I really want to be. So I love that you like share from your personal page into the group, or vice versa kind of. I loved that tip. And I loved, let me see my notes. You said serve them even when they say no. And I have an example of this, kind of an example. So I use Instagrass. Have you heard of that?
Instagrass?
Instagrass.
No.
It's on Instagram. It's a website. It's Instagress. And you can set it up so that it likes and comments on other people's posts for you. And one of my comments is something about my free group. And I give them the link to join because I use it as like a lead magnet kind of. And so I give them the link, and it just so happened to comment on somebody's post this week. And she responded to it saying, I've been approached by 3 other women, like something really negative. And I was just like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. She ended up messaging me saying that everyone that she's talked to before has tried to get her to coach, and when she said she's not interested, they completely stopped talking to her and they don't have any relationship. And so now she's like considering signing up as a coach on my team. So it's not like I didn't actively find her, but it's just like there are coaches out there. And I don't think any of you guys are on this team are like this, but there are coaches that literally will stop talking to you when you say no. And I think it's so important when you said, like, keep serving them, like give them some value, because they're still a friend, hopefully, in the long run. And eventually they'll likely join you. I'm like 99% sure they would join us. So
yeah. And I think that you brought that's a good point in sharing that, because I think that is the problem, is that we start this business. It is a business, yes, and you have your to-do list and you have your tracking you should do. But when it becomes that routine, or like where you're just like checking things off, you are then all of a sudden starting to forget that these are people, that they have feelings, that they have lives, that, they shouldn't be treated like, oh, they didn't want to sign up. Well, then, I'm moving on to someone else and that person's getting my energy. Now, all of a sudden it's like, I try to have people on my rotation of making sure that I'm still checking in and I'm still building relationships, because it does. it takes, I can't remember what the statistic is, like 5 or 6 times or something like that, of people seeing it come back, like in their newsfeed, or you inviting them. And the majority of my challengers and my coaches, it usually takes me asking them multiple times, and me just continually building this relationship, and me continually putting myself out there too on social media. I think that's the other thing, is that you have to be doing both. If you're only doing one, somewhere it's going to crumble. Like if you're doing your sharing and being you and being very true to you on your wall, so that people can continue to follow you. And then you're really connecting with them and relating in private messages. They feel like they can really connect and get to know you through both things. If you're missing one or the other, something is not going to jive with them. They're either going to feel like you're just messaging them and they don't understand what you're talking about. Like, I love it when coaches are like, well, I'm inviting, and I don't get why they're not wanting, they don't even know what I'm talking about. And I go on their wall and I'm like, yeah, because you share nothing about your journeys. They're probably like, what is she talking about? Like, what challenge group, what fitness, what I'm sorry, what do you do? Like, they're lost. They don't see you in that light because you're not sharing that. Or you're sharing everything and then you're not talking to anybody and you're expecting everybody to come to you. Like, it has to be both combined together. Yeah, I think, and I, one of my coaches, she had the same experience kind of that you did, where when she first signed up as a coach, she was going out and she was using the scripts that we had. And I want to say this too. I forgot to mention this as a tip. Scripts are really, you guys, they're just bare bones, right? They are a guide. That is an example. I fucking hate scripts because I feel like coaches get them and they're like, this is like the magic script. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to follow this to a T. And like, my business is going to explode. And I'm like, no, like, that is just to show you kind of like the process of an idea. Like, you need to add your own flavor into it. You got to inject you. And so it's very hard to show that to coaches because it's like every single invitation I do is so tailored and different for every single person. So you have to understand that the scripts are not for you to just be like plastering and following to a T. And I had my new coach, she was just going out and she was sending these invites, and a girl messaged her back and she was like, I've already gotten this invite from like 3 other people. Obviously, like, this is what you guys all do, or this is like something that all you coaches send. And she was like, oh crap. Like, no, like, that's not what I want. I don't want that being the thought that somebody's had, that they're just being basically, because I'm sure some of you have gotten it, right? Like, someone in your friends list, you don't really know them, and all of a sudden they're like, don't you want to join my da 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 da? And I'm trying to reach this goal, and if you buy this, and this by this day, then I earn this and you get this. And I'm like, who the hell are you? I'm like, thanks, but no thanks. So you don't want to leave that taste in people's mouths. Like, and that's what I was doing for like 7-8 months. I was just treating it very like businessy instead of treating it like friendships and really getting to know people and treating them like they're my best friends before they were even my best friends. I just treated them like I already knew them. And then I just forced my friendship on them.
You were going to be best friends even if they didn't want to be.
Pretty much. I'm like, you're going to be my best friend even if you don't know it yet.
I love it. So good. Do you guys have any questions for Blair?
I have a question.
Go for it.
So I've definitely been trying to focus more on creating conversations and actually getting to know them. And I think it's working because what I try to just respond to messages at the end of every day. And each day I probably have anywhere between like 17 to sometimes like 35 messages waiting for me. But so when I get to that point though, if on my to-do list that day is talk to new people, in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even keep up with these 30 messages. I'm not going to reach out to new people today. So what do you do in order to like manage your current conversations and keep those going and strong while also talking to new people?
That's a good question, because there are definite days when I open up my inbox and I'm like, whoa, there's like, 100 messages going on in here. That's a good question. I recognize that all conversations are going to obviously go at different paces. And if I'm not going out and actively starting brand new ones, you end up just literally talking to the same people over and over and over again. I just do it. I was like, I want to give you like a wonderful answer. And it's like, I just do it because I know that I have to go out and be starting new conversations with people. I mean, you are going to start seeing your inbox is going to build, and you're going to see more people. Can you maybe answer messages at like multiple times during a day, or is that only the time that you can do it? Is it at the very end of the day?
Well, I probably could. The way I have a full-time job, so the way that I work my business is like every 10 minutes or every block I have throughout the day that I don't have a patient, that's when I'm working my business. So then at the end of the day is when I usually respond to messages. But I could use like one of those 10-minute blocks or like my lunch break to respond to some of those.
I usually too, when I go into my inbox, I try to answer them not in order that they're in there. I do them in order of like people that I know I'm in the process of talking to them about a challenge group or coaching. Those I knock out first. Then I roll over into conversations where I'm actively like getting to know them, and maybe I haven't invited them yet. They then get knocked out next. Then I roll back into my challengers and coaches. Well, my challengers, I'm checking in with them though in my group, right? But then it's kind of like coaches and things like that are usually at the end. So that's how I usually find like at the end of the day, like that's when I'm starting to serve my team, because I'm spending the bulk of my day. I'm focusing on the people that I'm helping to either get started, or I'm in the process of trying to get to know them. And then kind of like, then I serve my team. And so if you're looking at how you're answering maybe your messages, if you're not doing it and maybe in an order so that you can make sure that the time that you spend answering messages is more maximized on those like relationship building and the people that you're trying to help, that might sometimes help restructurize the time. Because I find a lot of times that's what ends up happening is you kind of almost get lost in your inbox instead of doing an order. And if and this is kind of hard too, like when you're talking to people and people start answering you back, try to not go too much back and forth, like clean out, then go back if you have time, and then clean out and then go back, versus like, oh, they answered me right back, I'm going to go back. Because then you'll never clean out the ones that you need to. Like I find that usually is pretty helpful especially when your inbox starts to really build.
And then I just have one other question. For the people that you're mentioning, you go through their Facebook page and just try to mention something that you have in common. For some reason, I have a lot of people who never post on Facebook. So maybe I just shouldn't be reaching out to those people. But like for those that you literally, they just haven't posted in like a year, or they just like post something that you know nothing about, or just like nothing relevant. What do you do in that situation?
A lot of those people I don't try to rack my brain on, because I feel like you're not going to connect with everybody. And I think that that's the hard thing, is that we're going out and we're like almost, if you're trying to force to find something, I'm like, we don't have anything in common. And like, I want people that I'm working with on my team that we have stuff in common, because if it's hard to find a common ground, then if I invite them on my team, they're not going to fit in to my vibe of my team. They're not going to get me, and I'm not going to get them. So I'm good at letting, sometimes things go. And some people, they're on there, they have Facebook and they don't share anything. Doesn't mean that they're not following things. So, I will send a friendly message and just say hi, be like, I know we're both friends on Facebook and we haven't talked at all. Like, I hope you don't think I'm a total weirdo for messaging you right now, but I like to be able to say hello to my friends. If they say hi back to me, cool. And we might get along, and we might have a conversation privately. They may be one of those people that they just like to get on social media and see what everyone else is doing, but they just don't post much. And so they may have been following you. So I don't totally, say, no, but I think you can kind of tell when you start talking to somebody whether or not you guys are going to gel. And I just don't stress about it. I move on and I find other people that I know, they get me, I get them. It's going to be a good working relationship, either in a challenge group or on my team. And those are the people that I'm going to pour my energy into instead of trying to force a friendship with somebody.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? I have those same exact ones, Gretchen, so I'm glad that you asked them. All right. Well, if no one has any questions, and we're a little bit over the time that we usually go, I just want to thank you so much, Blair, for that topic in general. I think it's so refreshing to hear that stuff, you know, not so much business stuff, but just like really getting back to the basics of why we're in this is to help people and to build more friendship. So thank you for that. And thank you guys for hopping on and staying on the whole time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.